I recently read a post talking about the reasons why the Scrum framework is turning great developers into average developers. Today, I'm going to give you my opinion on this topic and some possible solutions. For the purpose of this video, let's call the author of this post Joe. And Joe starts off by saying Scrum is a way to take a below average or poor developer and turn them into an average developer. It's also great at taking great developers and turning them into average developers. Joe starts off very strong. Poor developers into average developers, but also great developers into average developers. Interesting. And Joe keeps on by saying everyone wants to take something easy off the board that you can get done in a day so that you have something to report in tomorrow's daily Scrum. Report in tomorrow's daily Scrum. Who are you reporting to? The Scrum Master? The Product Owner? A manager outside the team attending your daily Scrum? Remember, the goal of a daily Scrum is to craft a plan as a team for the day. For the developers to craft a plan as a team for the day in order to progress towards the sprint goal. One common anti-pattern during the daily Scrum is reporting to people. A status meeting, you're reporting to the Scrum Master, you're reporting to the Product Owner. When giving your updates, answering the 3 questions, what did I do yesterday, what will I do today? Any impediments, any blockers preventing me from achieving my goal for the day? I'm talking to a single person when giving my report, my status. No, that's wrong. The daily Scrum is for the developers, by the developers. And the purpose of this event meeting is to craft a plan for the day. Help them craft a plan for the day. How will we work together to progress towards the sprint goal? That's the right way. And in the right way, there's no such thing as reporting. Let's keep reading. It's just everyone trying to pick the low-hanging fruit. There's no incentive to be smart and to take time to think about solutions. If nothing is moving across, what are you even doing? You're letting the team down. The velocity is falling. Anti-pattern. Believing that things need to be continuously moving across the board. You can't work on anything smart, any hard user or complex user stories. Only easy ones. Let's go back to why we want things to be moving across the board, so that we can see progress. And one way to do it is to break down user stories into smaller chunks. Just imagine a user story, 21 points, takes 6 days to complete, approximately. And it's a big user story, sits in the in progress column. Don't really know what's happening or not. But if we broke down the user story into smaller chunks, maybe multiple people could work on that at the same time. It would progress. We could clearly see what's happening. What's remaining to do in the user story. That's why we want things moving across the board. But that shouldn't be a reason to not deliver or maximize value for the customer. In all my years of experience, I've never heard of people accusing developers of pulling down the team. The velocity is crashing because you're working on something too smart or too complex. Never heard of that. But let's assume that this is true. What are the potential solutions? The team is self-managed, right? The team is self-organized, right? If it was a soccer team, an issue with one of the players, the team would fix it, right? Let the team fix it. Let the developers fix it. If they feel that someone is slacking or being lazy, let them talk to the person. Maybe the person needs training. Let them give a training to this person. Let them handle this situation. It's a team effort. There's no individual members slowing down the team. If a member is having a hard time moving their items across the board, they need help. They should be raising that they need help in the daily Scrum. You need psychological safety. We need to be trusting each other. That's another topic. You can watch this video right here. But if you have this welcoming environment where people want to support each other, the person can raise in the daily Scrum, I need help. And others can come to help them. It's a team effort. We are all working together. No one is working individually. That's the feeling I'm getting when reading this post from Joe. Individual members of a team competing with each other. That's not Scrum. That's not even teamwork. And one last thing, if a manager somewhere or a Scrum Master somewhere is complaining that cards are not moving across the board fast enough, why are they even in the daily Scrum? Kick them out of the daily Scrum. The daily Scrum is for the developers, by the developers. It's not their problem. Let the developers fix the issue themselves. Let's keep reading. I think you have hard problems to solve. You solve them by giving them to smart people, then leaving them alone. You don't constantly harass them every day demanding to know what they did yesterday and what they plan to do today. with daily updates. Where is the incentive for the smart people to work on hard problems? They now have the same incentive as a junior developer. Find the easiest tickets to move across the board. That's a really good point. And also a potential solution. Let the smart people decide by themselves. Let the team decide. Don't tell people what to do. Again, this gives me the impression that a Scrum Master, or a manager, or a product owner, they are telling the team what to do. All the developers are telling that to themselves. It doesn't make any sense. I feel that someone else outside the developers or the development team telling the team what to do. No, let the developers be smart, be self-managed, be self-organized, and you provided some solutions. Let them work. Let them pick what they want. They are the owners of the sprint backlog. They know how to do the work. But why can't you do that? Why is this not currently working with your implementation of a Scrum framework? What's preventing you? What's stopping you? For me, the problem is not really the Scrum framework. It's that you're doing so many anti-patterns that you're not even using Scrum. Your implementation of the Scrum framework is wrong. That's what the typical Scrum Masters or Agile coaches or Agile practitioners tell you. You're not using Scrum correctly. Too easy of a conclusion for me. When so many people are raising issues with the Scrum framework, you can't just say you're using the Scrum framework wrongly. No, reflect on that. Inspect it. Why are so many people complaining about the Scrum framework? There might be an issue to inspect here. Something to adapt here. Let's take a simple example. One of the things that is not recommended in the Scrum Guide 2020, the latest version of the Scrum Guide, not mentioned, is the Scrum board, a Kanban board with columns, the Scrum board, not recommended in the Scrum Guide, but I've never seen a Scrum team not use a Scrum board. And the problem with the Scrum board is that the work is transparent. Transparency, visible, which is good, but can also be bad. The Scrum Master, the product owner, managers outside the team can see daily productivity metrics of the team. Individual members of the team know who worked on what, how many people picked up how many story points, how many user stories, who is working multiple days on the same user story. That's all good if you are in a safe environment, an environment where people trust you. But when you are in an environment where developers are being judged by their productivity of the day, how fast are they moving tasks or user stories across the board, when someone is judged on something, they will actually do it. Show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. If you tell developers that they need to be productive, efficient, they will find a way to be productive and efficient. But that was never the goal. The goal was never to increase velocity every single sprint. The goal was never to move user stories across the board as fast as possible. No, if you do that and you're not reducing the scope or you're not allowing them to pick a deadline, a fair release date, quality will suffer. They will simply write dirty code, not test things because they don't have time. Things need to be quickly moved across the board. I've even seen developers that because at the end of a sprint, all the user stories which were not done or not counted towards the velocity of a sprint. You know that. It's either done or not done. They literally move all the not done user stories to the done column so that these are counted as velocity. And they reopen all these user stories after the sprint is closed to move them to the next sprint. Show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. Another problem is self-organization, self-management. There's this expectation that when you apply the Scrum framework, the team will start working together, collaborating together, team spirit will increase. Really? I don't see that on the ground. Let me ask you a simple question. Does your company give end-of-year bonuses? Do you evaluate the performance of individual team members or the whole team? And you give the whole team a bonus or individual members in the team bonuses? If this is true, individual members in the team to give bonuses, but that's an incentive to work better than your colleague. That's not an incentive for teamwork. And when that's at the core of your company, people will start pushing their colleagues to go higher, to show that they are doing more than their colleagues, to start doing certifications, to get this next promotion. Because not everyone in the team can get a promotion, can get a salary increase. Competition between team members. Can they work as a team in this sort of environment? Some people do, but it's hard. But team bonding activities, collaboration needs to be the main focus of the team. Else, people will start working in isolation, only work for themselves, for their career, for their bonus. And there's nothing wrong with that. Show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. We are just playing the game, following the rules of the game, your game. So don't expect when implementing the Scrum framework that the team will magically start working together. That was never the intention of a Scrum framework. The intention of a Scrum framework was to make a team which is already good at working together even more efficient, even more effective. It makes an average team even better. But it needs to start with a good or average team first. And I've not said poor developers, great developers. I don't care about the developers. I care about the team. It needs to be an average team. It needs to be a good team. Who cares what individual members of a team are doing? If you have superstars in the team, the collaboration does not exist. You don't have a team. That's why my focus is on the team. Even poor developers working in a great team environment, bonding together, collaborating together, will beat a team of superstars working in complete isolation using the Scrum framework. Again, the expectation is teamwork. Then you apply the Scrum framework, not the other way around. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.